Do-It-Yourselfers. Every once in a while, I will get a question from somebody that I think, wow, I really have a lot to say here, and I want to answer this person in the best way possible. But I figured it would be so much easier just to say it in person. And I thought, well, why don't I just record an answer to the question? So this is a question I got on the interview that I did with Sally Norton on my YouTube channel. And this was one of the comments. And I'm going to read the comment and then I'm going to say what I think the answer is. I don't know if the question was actually directed to Sally or to me, but since it's on my channel and Sally is not reading it, I will do my best to answer it to the best of my knowledge. The question was, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I've been mostly carnivore for the last 3 weeks, and I also have been doing 3-day rolling fasts. Today is day 2 of such a fast, and my urine was fine yesterday and today, but now that I drank some hibiscus tea and cinnamon tea, I went to urinate and it was really cloudy. Is this my body simply now being able to rid itself of oxalates much more easier? Or what is this? It's so bizarre to me. I also seem dehydrated by the color of it, so I will honestly be drinking like 3 water bottles in the next 2 hours, then seeing how the urine comes out after that. We'll drink another tea and see if it happens again. It's freaking me out a bit, to be honest. This happened the night we ate like 5 nights ago, and I drank lots of tea and soda as well. This was never this way before. Getting a bit worried. Nothing really hurts, but this is strange for sure. Okay, this is what I think I would like to answer, and please do not take this as medical advice by any means. But yeah, I'll tell you what I think. If you had a relatively high oxalate diet before you started doing a more meat-based diet like carnivore, then yes, your body could be going through what is an oxalate dumping cycle. Now, these oxalate dumping cycles can go along with certain things that you're doing, but it could just be random. You will notice that if you are a person who is going through oxalate dumping, it tends to go cyclically. And I will have some cycles that are just much harsher than others, and others that the only thing I really notice is the cloudy urine. And so yes, one of the main signs of oxalate dumping for many people is cloudy urine. And that is you seeing the body getting rid of some of the excess oxalate crystals in your urine. Tea with cinnamon in it is probably actually a really good thing to have if you think that you're oxalate dumping, because it has a bit of oxalate in it, and that can help to moderate the levels in your bloodstream so that your body won't try to intensely get rid of all of the oxalates at once. The idea is that when you eat a low oxalate diet or no oxalate diet after having a very high one, when you were on the high oxalate diet, those oxalates were accumulating in different parts of your body. It could be in joints, it could be kidney stones, it could be numerous places. And once your body sees that there isn't such a high level in the bloodstream, it wants to get rid of some of those toxins. And so the oxalate dumping sometimes can be very brutal. It can come really harshly all at once. And it's nice if you can take something like a tea with cinnamon in it, and that can help make it so that you're not dumping quite so much all at once. It can just make the process go a little bit more smoothly. That's why Sally does recommend not jumping directly to a very low or no oxalate diet and just cutting down little by little. Now, I'm almost 2 years into a meat-based diet, and I still have oxalate dumping cycles. A lot of times they will go with my period, or but I do have them more often than that, maybe every 2 weeks or so. A lot of times I will notice other symptoms, like I will get really hungry and then maybe not so hungry. I'll feel more active and then I'll feel exhausted. And when I notice those big changes in the way I feel, it tends to be accompanied by other oxalate dumping symptoms like the cloudy urine. And I tend to get a bit of a rash again on my ankles, and my eczema just comes back. Not as bad as it was pre-carnivore, but it does. For several days, I will notice a little blistering, very itchy come up. So yeah, some of the things that you can do to help with that, she has them written out in her book. Again, one of the things you can do is just take something with a little bit of oxalate. So if you do want to do like a carnivore diet and a meat-based diet, what you can do is just add a few little things that aren't super high oxalate, but they can help make it so you're not super low oxalate right from the start. So you could add a little bit of pepper maybe to your meats, or you could have some tea with cinnamon, or you could also maybe have a square of dark chocolate every once in a while. Maybe not ideal, but these higher oxalate foods, even sometimes what I would do if I had really severe oxalate dumping, I would have just a small spoonful of peanut butter or almond butter or something like that. Everything that I had left over from before in my cupboard still. And that did help with really extreme dumping. Other things that you can do to help is actually get up your electrolytes. And again, Sally talks about this a lot in her book. She covers the different electrolytes like calcium, magnesium, potassium, and she especially likes the citrates. The citrates also help with the oxalate dumping process, but you could get that naturally too through having some lemon water. So yeah, if you're going to be drinking a lot of water, that's probably good because it can help eliminate the oxalates, but you could also add in some lemon and that could help. And these other electrolytes will also make you feel better. I know this person said that she was feeling relatively well. She was just worried about the cloudy urine. But I find that I'm generally tired and feeling run down when I'm having oxalate dumping. And one thing that can help is getting some calcium citrate. The calcium helps replenish some of the calcium that has been depleted from the binding with the oxalate. And you will notice that kidney stones and the crystals that form like a gout, an oxalate gout, these are calcium binding with the oxalates, and you end up with calcium oxalate. So if you take calcium, this can help, and her idea is to bind it in your intestines, and then you can help get rid of the oxalates through your system that way. Magnesium, a lot of times will also help clear you out a bit sooner, but she covers the reasons for taking some of these electrolytes in her book. So I really suggest taking a look at the book, getting the book and reading it if you think that you are having issues with oxalate dumping. This was meant to be just a quick answer. I'm standing here at my treadmill desk and I stopped so it wouldn't make all the noise for me to be able to answer. But I was watching this and there were just a few things that I wanted to interject, some things that I forgot to add that I thought might be helpful to some people. Some of the oxalate dumping symptoms, other than the cloudy urine, which is quite common, and sometimes I'll even see and it will look pixelated is the way I would say it, but other people say it looks sandy or grainy or that sort of thing. Most of the time it's just cloudy, and yes, it will look a bit lighter in color, but I think that's just from the opaqueness of the crystals in it. Other things I notice a lot are just really dry red eyes, and especially, and a lot of times I'll even feel like it's crystals coming out of the side. When I had extreme dumping at the beginning, I got severe rashes all over, but I also felt pain coming out from my skin. But that's one of the other things I wanted to say, that the calcium will help bind and get rid of the oxalates through your intestines and not just through your urine. And of course, what you don't want is to severely hurt your kidneys in the process of severe oxalate dumping. And there have been cases of people who've had either severe kidney stones or even needed dialysis with problems with oxalates. So you do want to be a bit careful about it. And the calcium will help you bind it in the intestines to get rid of it one other way. I notice that I tend to try to get rid of it through the skin too. I think that's why I get the eczema bag. And when that first month when I got the really severe oxalate dumping, my face got all red and puffy and it just hurt. It felt like crystals were coming out of it. So luckily, I only had that about a month into the carnivore diet before I knew anything about what oxalates really were. I had heard of them. I knew that a friend of mine was a blogger, had gotten kidney stones, and it was from oxalates. But I had no idea the extent of all the issues that it could cause and that sort of thing. Other issues I noticed, yes, the eyes, the skin. A lot of people will notice it in their joints. And it just really depends on where you have your issues and where your body tries to get rid of them. And some people will get kidney stones. Luckily, despite having a super, super high oxalate diet and having a lot of these problems in the past that make me more susceptible to issues with oxalates. I had so many rounds of antibiotics as a child, as a young adult, so many ear infections, so many throat infections, so many urinary tract infections, even a very severe kidney infection. Plus they put me on tetracycline for acne and just so many things that made me a lot more susceptible. And then on top of that, I was substituting all of my gluten with almond flour and all of these very high oxalate foods. So those of us who are very susceptible, have high oxalate diets, we could see a lot of issues. And that's why I think going to a carnivore diet has helped me so much. So much more than my high veggie. It was a very clean diet, but it just was causing me more and more problems in the long run. And I think the main issue there was especially oxalates. But I just wanted you to be aware of some of the symptoms and some of the reasons that you really want to be careful when you are detoxing from the oxalates. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I will be formulating a couple of electrolyte mixes. I actually did a copycat of the Element, but they reformulated. They had on their website a recipe that you could follow yourselves, and I wanted to scale it up to make a big mixture that you could measure out and just have it pre-mixed so you don't have to mix it out every day. But they changed their recipe like about a week ago. They had it a mixture of volume and grams, and now it's all by weight, which is really good because it makes it a lot more precise recipe. But I have to reformulate everything I already had. And their mixture does not have calcium, so I also want to offer an option for those of you who do have oxalate issues and you want to get a few more forms of potassium in there, the potassium bicarbonate apart from the citrate, and also some calcium to your electrolyte mix. So I will work on that. I'll probably start with that next week. My son is getting back to school next week, so the first week, I don't know how busy I'll be, but I think I can start getting back into the swing of things again for fall. And so hopefully that recipe will be up soon and that video, and until then,